Hi, my name's Gavin Barbour Hill. I run the post office at Newcastle under Lyme with the Premier convenience store. The indigenous population of Newcastle are probably quite a good mix of demographics. Within the centre you've probably got the less well off, but as you go outside of Newcastle, the more rural areas, you've got people with quite a bit of money to spend. The shop floor in total is around about 1,000 square foot, with it roughly half being convenience store and half post office.
I first got involved with Gavin through Troy Gardner, who's a regional sales manager for Post Office Limited. Troy said that Gavin was struggling a little bit with the retail and would I come up and have a look at it for him. So I made the journey up and had a look around the shop and we came up with some ideas.
What I was hoping to achieve was to get an independent viewpoint really in terms of what was best for the shop and how best to proceed, because clearly whilst I had a background in retail, it wasn't in this type of retail and I didn't have any history in terms of what worked best with the post office. We decided to do a SWOT analysis because I was relatively new to this town. Ken had never been here before and clearly we wanted to know exactly what the opportunities and weaknesses etc. were. We batted around many ideas before we decided on the convenience store option.
The deciding factor was when I was driving out of town and noticed that Sainsbury's were going to be moving their store out of the town centre, which left a bit of a food desert.
And then once that was chosen, really it was, I can't say whether I did one before the other, but it was choosing the symbol group with Ken's help. He sort of came up with a short list of which ones were the best for my circumstances. I looked at the various different options. I was already using Booker, so Premier was pretty much top of the list anyway, and having spoken to others who were in the Premier group, I found the feedback was really positive, and my experience of actually using Premier has been remarkably good. I can't fault it in any way really. I chose to go with the symbol group because really in this current day and age you need to have a professional standard, and you need also, where possible, to get the benefit and backup of a brand, and Premier clearly is a well-known brand. The
list of symbols that I gave Gavin were based on the low cost to entry. I knew that Gavin had invested heavily in buying the site in the first place, so to be able to develop a convenience offer he needed a low cost entry point. So the symbols that I recommended were the ones that offered the cheapest fit out and startup package.
And so, from the list that Ken gave me, I'd looked at all of them. I think there was probably about 4 or 5 on there. I'd looked at them all. They'd all visited, and I had the conversations, and really from the terms and conditions and location as well was another important thing, because the Booker site is really local to me here. The refit itself took about a week to complete in totality. What we did is, because of the design of the shop itself, we were able to basically cut off the area that we were going to refit. So in terms of inconvenience to the customers, it was minimal, because the area that I was refitting really wasn't used that much. There wasn't a lot of footfall in this area that we're in now. So simply put a barrier across and continue trading as normal at the top end. We didn't advertise it other than putting the signage up. We've got a programme that we're running at the minute in terms of leaflet drops and marketing. It was a bit of a slow burner initially, as people didn't know we were here. It was still the old signage and so on. So we saw a slight increase immediately, but then the real jump came when we got the signage up. So we probably, I don't know, tripled or quadrupled the turnover.
The thought that Sainsbury was going and there wasn't anywhere to pop out and get bits and pieces, we were all a bit worried, so we're quite pleased now that that we've got somewhere we can just pop in and get some stuff.
What I like about it now is the choice of products, the staff, the opening times. Absolutely fantastic.
The store challenge has been good for us at the post office because it's enabled us to work with a post office team and help them to turn around their retail offer. And it's given us a model to use in other post offices around the country where similar problems are facing the operator.
The store challenge has been very useful to me in terms of speeding up the process for me, pointing me in the right direction, undoubtedly saving me money and time and stress in going down cul-de-sacs and blind avenues, and clearly, from what you can see here, the results speak for themselves.